Hi, my name is Jeff Anderson. I'm here to talk about Hero Virtual Tabletop, which is an application that makes it easy to run pen and paper style role playing games within the City of Heroes slash icons application. Right now, I'm going to talk about a very simple utility, which is just something that allows you to specify and load up crowds of costumes or models a little bit faster than just doing the keybind slash commands on their own. Okay, so a little bit of an installation tip before we get started. Make sure you've got the following line in your keybinds file so that the letter B is always set to loading up a keybind file called b.txt. This is really important or else the whole thing won't work. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get on to managing crowds. Now, if you've got Hero's Virtual Tabletop installed correctly, you will have extracted the Hero Virtual Tabletop folder inside of your City of Heroes directory. What's really important is that you've got a crowds folder within that Hero Virtual Tabletop directory, and you've got this application executable crowd manager keyboard interface. Instead of just starting on this, you're going to have to create a shortcut. That's because you need to be able to run this thing as administrator. So you can just click on properties, get into advanced, make sure that it's set to run as administrator, and you're good to go. So okay, so now that we've got that going, I'm just going to make sure I don't already have a copy open. I do. So let me just close that off. Okay, so now that we've got all that going, we're going to start this off. So first thing we do here, we start up the application. You can kind of see it down here in my taskbar. We're good to go. So now I'm going to set up my first crowd. So let me just find the right text box here. Where did we go? Here we go. Okay. So imagine I want to create a super team. I want to call it Unstoppable. And I want to put in the following characters. These are all the names of valid costume files. They could also be the name of valid models that exist within City of Heroes. Either one will work. So what I do here is I want to get into crowd creation mode. And to do that, I hit Alt-Charlie. And you'll hear that audible hiss. That's the signal that that command worked properly and that we're ready to start adding people into our crowd. So first thing I'm going to do is hit S. And what that means is that I've just specified Unstoppable as the name of my crowd. Once I've done that, I can now start choosing crowds or characters that go into the crowd. So I'm going to hit C, and that stands for adding a crowd, adding a costume to a crowd. And you'll see that went and created my first, loaded my first costume. I'm going to do the same thing with him. Again, you'll notice there's an audible kind of feedback, so you know that this thing is actually working. Let's go add all these guys in here. So I've loaded up all my costumes. Again, what I did is I hit Alt-C to get into crowd mode. I then clicked on some text that represent the crowd that I want to build. I hit the letter S, which grabbed that and created a crowd called Unstoppable. I then clicked on each of these costume files, hit the letter C, which loaded them up in here. Now, one thing to notice is if you try to use your keyboard or your, to do anything else but crowd management, you won't be able to because you're in crowd management mode. So you got to get out of that. You'll hear that sound. That's because I hit the letter escape. So now I can actually get around. I'm going to move these guys around just so we can see them. When you're building your crowds, you're not sure who wants, especially if you're doing models, you won't be sure who, if you've chosen the right one or not. So, you don't want them all stacked on top of each other. Let's just kind of move these guys around a little bit. So now, just kind of getting these guys going. Let's get preemptive strike out of the way. I think I've got everybody here. There we go. Okay, so that's my super team. Great. So you might say, okay, so what did I exactly do here? What I want to do is show you a few things, which are kind of important. The first piece is if we go into the crowds folder, you'll notice that there's a new file called unstoppable.crowd. So I'm going to open that guy up. And if you kind of look over here, what you'll see is an entry for each costume that I loaded. And it's really just a simple mapping that says, Blind Justice belongs to the crowd Unstoppable. There's a model in here because City of Hero / icon, when it loads up costumes, it loads a model and then adds a costume on top of it. This model could have been anything. It's the costume that's really important. Later on, I'll show you how to load up models that don't have costumes. It's a very similar process. You'll notice a little line of junk here. We can just delete that. That's a little bug in the program. It doesn't really cause any damage. And so what I'm going to do now is I've got my crowd. That's great. If I wanted to load this up later on, it's very easy for me to do so. Just to show it, I'm going to clear all these guys off the road. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to hit Alt-S. Well, actually, let's pretend that, we're starting again from scratch. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to blow this guy away. So now, we've got no models. The utility hasn't been running. And I'm going to go back here and let's go run this guy again. So now we're kind of starting from scratch. Let me go into let me get the name of the team because I don't feel like, there it is, it's right here. So again, I'm going to go into crowd creation mode. And then I'm going to hit S just to, set my crowd as unstoppable. I'm then going to get out of crowd creation mode. So I hit escape, I'm back in, and I'm going to hit Alt S. And Alt S is crowd, management or crowd movement mode. So again, you hear that, audible sound. So now I'm going to hit N for new placement. So there we go. Just hit the letter N. Just hit the letter N again. Here we go. And then we go move another guy. And then you go, there's your team. So, that's a lot, it's quite dynamic and it's quite easy to specify crowds and then go place them later on. So what if we want to do the same thing with a model? Why don't we, just to make things easy, I'm going to go and load up. Let's go find that model that I have here. Let's just take one of these models, for instance. Let's say I want female NPC 56. I think she's going to be a really good addition to my super team. So I'm going to hit escape to get out of crowd management mode. I'm going to go and open that guy up again. I'm going to hit Alt Charlie to get back into crowd creation mode. There we go. Instead of hitting C this time, I'm going to hit M for model. And that's going to go and load up this model. So hey, we got female NPC 56 now as part of our team. I can hit the escape character just so I can get around a little bit better. I'm going to go find that file. So this file has changed. And hey, look at that. We've got female NPC 56 in our super team. Hooray. Now, a lot of time when you're creating crowds, you're going to want to have a horde of people that are of the same or similar model. Like, a whole lot of SWAT team cops or a whole lot of secret agents or something. So this works well. So what you can do here is I'm going to go back into crowd creation mode, hitting Alt Charlie. And then I'm going to click on our favorite female NPC 56. I'm going to hit M again. And you'll see a new model just showed up. Now, if I click on that, you'll see that's the first one. So let me just get her out of the way. And then let's look at the second one. And you'll see now this is, I've got 561. So I've created a unique identifier for her. So let's go back in and let's, hit the letter M again. And here we go. And now we've got a 562. So I could have done that with my costumes. Imagine that I want to have 2 spiders on my team because, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. So any spider-like characters I want. I'm going to hit the letter C. That's going to go and create a new entry here. And then we've got Spider 1. And, hey, let's go and I want 2 of these guys because, he's super cool. So now you see I've got Trantum 1. I could have Trantum 2, all that kind of good stuff. If you go back to my file, let me hit escape so I can get back to it. You'll look here and you'll see a much bigger Unstoppable. I've got 561, 562. Let's go find there's Spider 1. There's Trantum 1. So you can really create big crowds out of a couple of characters. So let's go here and we'll just clear it all off just so you can see that it all loads nicely. So we'll clear all that. I'll get into crowd management mode. excuse me, which is hitting Alt S, and now I'll do new placement. And you'll see there's he's got an FX hacked into his costume. That's why he's doing that. Here are all these guys. Now it's pretty cool. I can kind of place them around. There's my two Spideys. There's my Plant / Hulk ripoff, Trantum. Then there's, there's my females. They're the most powerful part. They kind of look pretty depressed, to be honest, but they're the most dynamic part of the super team. Okay, so what you've seen, this is just the first utility, which is, a really easy way to take models and costumes and bind them together. Next off, what I'm going to do is show you how to actually add animations to these characters so they can actually start doing stuff.